Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Market Snapshot series. My name is Rufas Kamau, Markets Analyst at FX Pesa. So as you know, today is a brand new week. It's on a good Monday. We managed to celebrate Father's Day. So happy Father's Day. This is a belated message to every father listening to this. And of course, we have exactly 2 weeks until we get to the end of the first half of the year. So funny enough, there will be no halftime break. So after the end of the first half, we immediately start the second half. So there's quite a number of things that we're expecting in the markets. So I'll be starting by looking at the economic calendar. I can already see there's quite some good number of comments coming in. I'm ready for the analysis. Thank you, Jim. What's the symbol of US dollar index without an expiry? I think all indices US dollar index with the FX Pesa have an expiry. So once it expires, then you grab onto the new symbol. I had to grab a new one for me. So just search USD index U3 and you'll find that one. So morning, Philip, Stephen, Patrick, Tito. Thank you guys. So let's get this started right away. First things first, we look at the economic calendar. So from early this morning, we don't have any major news happening in the markets. So we had the Business New Zealand Services Index, which came in at 53.3, higher than the previous reading of 50.1. Housing Price Index in the UK at 0.0%. And of course, we'll be looking at other data points for the rest of the day. I don't think they have any impact. And of course, there's a bank holiday in the US. So we will be expecting very low volatility since they will be observing what we call the Juneteenth holiday. So in this case, I'll be expecting very low volatility in the markets. So we can already see that happening in US equity indices. So if you switch quickly to your charts, you notice this happening. So if you go to, let's say, the US Tech 100, and you compare last week's price action, there was out of volatility. Friday, some form of pullback, but if you look at today's price, especially from the 15-minute chart, then it's pretty clear that this chart is majorly moving sideways. So I observed a similar thing with the S&P 500. So we don't have much volatility happening today. So we could be expecting a pretty slow day for the day. And of course, the Dow Jones is attempting to make a comeback. So we are seeing the markets that were largely selling on Friday attempt to make a small comeback, but still more or less of a sideways momentum. So having seen that we have a bank holiday in the US, where the day starts later, we will be expecting volatility during New York session. So if there is opportunities in the markets, there will be a good chance that they will be happening in the London session, which just started. So going into Tuesday, tomorrow, we'll be looking at quite a number of things. I think the most important one in the early morning is monetary policy meeting minutes from Australia. So this will clarify further why there was a strong surprise rate hike by the Reserve Bank of Australia 2 weeks ago. So Swiss trade balance will also be pretty important. And of course, a speech by RBA Deputy Governor Bullock. RBA Assistant Governor Kent will also be speaking after the monetary policy meeting minutes. Then later on in the US, we'll be looking at building permits and housing starts data before we listen to a speech from FOMC member Williams. So nothing much. To me, it looks like price action traders territory, where you're not expecting any big news to cause spikes in the market. So technical price patterns tend to play out very well in this kind of environment. So on Wednesday, we'll be looking at the inflation data coming in from the UK. So in the previous reading, there was a huge drop from 10.1% to 8.7%. And now we're expecting this number to drop further to 8.4%. So this will be very, very important because the Bank of England will be observing this number before they make a decision on their next meeting. So this will be an important metric for the UK. So consumer price index as a measure of inflation, or CPI, is a measure of inflation without food and energy prices. We also look at forward prices or producer price index before we look at the retail price index and of course the housing price index. So indices are basically a measure of inflation or a measure of relative change of prices in the UK. They will be very important in determining the direction that the Bank of England will be taking. And of course, we will be expecting impact on the UK pound pairs as well as the UK 100 index. So we also be looking at core retail sales from the Canadian economy on Wednesday at 3:30 p.m. And of course, a speech from Fed Chair Powell. So this is also very important. We'll be expecting some good volatility coming in from this one. So he'll due to testify about the semi-annual monetary policy report before the House Financial Services Committee in Washington, D.C. So in this case, we'll be expecting that Powell will be grilled, especially after holding its level on the last meeting. So he'll be facing some pretty tough questions, and this has the potential to move the markets as he may share hints about oncoming monetary policy. So besides this, going forward, this is the SNB week. For those who don't know, it's the Swiss National Bank. So it's expected to hike interest rates by 25 basis points from 1.5% to 1.75%. So this is pretty important. And of course, the Bank of England, we also be expected to hike interest rates by 25 basis points from 4.5% to 4.75%. So I think the most volatile day of the week will be Thursday. This is when we have two central banks raising interest at the same day. So at the same time, we also have a speech from Fed Chair Powell. So with all this happening in the same day, we'll be expecting some good volatility. Then on Friday, I don't think the volatility will slow down. So we'll be having manufacturing and services PMI from Australia, from the Eurozone, and of course from the UK, as well as from the US. So manufacturing and services PMI will be released on Friday. So this will be expected to show how resilient the economies are, ranging from Australia to the UK to the US and the Eurozone economy. So with this in mind, then for today, knowing that we are just trading price action, expecting volatility to only resume on Wednesday and to get tougher on Thursday before we close the day on Friday. Before we close the week on Friday, then it's important that right now we start looking at charts to identify if there are any trading opportunities. I think it's very important that we look at the chart. So gold seems to be moving along these two trend lines. So if I was to use the forward chart and then zoom, you'll notice the momentum between two trend lines going up and down, up and down, up and down, with some of the key levels being quite easy to identify. For instance, the support level at 1938, it's very clean. You can almost see it happening over and over again. The resistance at 1964 has been playing out very well. And whenever the market breaks 1964, we have seen several tests to 1970. So 1970 is this level here. And you can see in the last 2 weeks, we were unable to break the 1970 price level. So going forward, from the 1 hour chart, this is what we are seeing in the prices of gold. We move even closer, 15 minutes chart, then you can almost observe something happening here. So the market seems to be almost moving in a triangle formation. So this seems to be the bottom since Friday. So I'm just trying to get as accurate as possible. So this seems to be the bottom. And of course, on the upper side, I think the market has been pretty much playing around this area here. And this is on the 15 minutes chart. So with one exemption, this break out and then back. But most of the price action seems to be relatively within those two regions. So there is a good chance we'll be identifying a break. And once it happens, then it may present a trading opportunity. So if the market happens to break towards the upper side, then we start thinking of 1964. If it breaks towards the lower side, then we start thinking of 1938. So these are the two immediate price action levels that I'll be mostly interested in 1964 to the upper side and 1938 to the lower side. So it's a matter of just wait and see where the market breaks out. If it's to the upper side, we go up. If it's to the lower side, then we go down. So USD seems to be pretty bullish to me, especially after what we saw with the central banks last week. So we know that the central banks announced interest rate decisions last week. So the first one was the Chinese central bank, or the People's Bank of China, which decided to cut interest rates. The second one was the US, which held interest rates level. The ECB, or the European Central Bank, went for a rate hike. Of course, the bank chose to hold interest rate level at negative 0.1%. So, well, on one hand, we have seen the euro really strengthen against some currencies. It's important to notice that the euro JPY pair has hit a 15-year high. So that's one currency you should be pretty much interested in. So this currency pair managed to rally to a 15-year high. And as the ECB president, Christine Lagarde, kept on saying that they're willing to do whatever it takes to get inflation down. They had very poor projections on the trajectory for inflation. So there's a good chance that the ECB will continue hiking interest rates. So any form of pullback here might be considered worthwhile to look for a market entry and target even higher prices. So there is a good chance we'll be seeing the Euro JPY currency pair continue to push further upwards. So that's one of the key highlights for the day. Pound USD managed to hit a 1-year high. So the last time we saw the pound USD trading this high was in April last year. So if you go to the daily chart, April 2022, this is when the pound was last trading at that price level. So it made an impressive recovery, broke the resistance. So the resistance was right here, this high of last year, and of course this high here. So now having a 2-day break towards the upper side basically implies that it was a successful breakout. And there is a good chance we'll be seeing some continuation here or some further upwards trajectory coming from the pound USD. So as for now, the prices seem muted, basically implying that nothing much is happening. All you have to do is to map the consolidations here. So map the consolidations and then identify when the market makes a break either to the upper side or to the lower side. So in this case, I would be much in favor for a breakout towards the upper side. So if such was to happen on pound USD, then it would make sense to go for a bullish position. So for now, it's a case of wait and see. Euro USD the same way, just moving sideways. So let's just monitor whenever there is momentum towards one side. And when we identify a break, then in that case, you might consider going for some form of position towards the direction of the break. So that's it for the day. For USD CAD, it's a big drop here. So a consolidation that lasted quite a period of time from September last year through to May this year. We can say that overall the market was just moving sideways. So that's a period of like 8 months. So within 8 months, the USD CAD has been moving sideways with some pretty good swings. Then it eventually made the break towards the lower side, indicating a very strong Canadian dollar and a weak US dollar. So in this case, we'll be expecting to see some further downside momentum. So from the 1-hour chart, this is how it looks like. So every time the market pulls back upwards, then traders find the opportunity to squeeze in some more shorts. So USD JPY managed to break outside these 2.5 weeks consolidation, broke towards the upper side. So as we all know, whenever there's a break, we usually expect some form of pullback. It happened, the market retested and pushed even higher. So from this area now, you can see the market pulling back to retest this area here. So this area was acting as resistance. So once the market broke, went back down to test the former resistance, tested successfully, and now I'm expecting some further upside momentum to be happening in USD JPY currency pair. So that's it for the day. Thank you very much, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And of course, practice risk management at all times. We know that these sessions are not investment or trading advice. So they are very educational. Make sure that you do your own due diligence. So there's a good answer on the symbols for the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, and the US 500. Thank you, Dennis, for responding to the question. Can you differentiate between entry point and buy at on trading chart? These occurs especially receive a signal. These particular sessions are purely educational. We try to do as much analysis as we can, but we never give trading signals. Pound USD printing longer upper weights. However, we know the bias is skewed in favor of GBP. How do we trade it? I think for Pound USD, I'll be expecting some further upside. So if we are seeing this week for the 15 minutes, just be patient and wait for the direction of break. Eventually, the market will break out of that consolidation. Hey, J Squad. Hey, Hesbon. So whenever we analyze UK oil, it's almost as if we are analyzing the US oil. So the correlations are pretty strong and the charts are very similar. So it usually doesn't make any time management sense to analyze both of them. So if Brent oil is making an impressive comeback here, the US oil is also doing the same. So in this case, we managed to capture a nice bottom here last week. Market pullback, it continued to rally, and now we are on the upper swing, very close to our target of $77.5 per barrel. So as for now, in this short-term outlook, I think oil is headed to 76.49 price level, which was a high here, and of course the high on Friday. And of course, once we breach this, then there's a good chance we'll be seeing 77.5. So oil is on the trajectory, swinging from the lower side and now moving towards the upper side of the range. So it's still a sideways momentum, but if you are able to capture the lows and the highs, then you can trade within the range and get to enjoy some good pips. So for this case, I expect price to continue moving high, and the short-term target for today and tomorrow seems $77.5 per barrel. So very much, everyone. Remember to share these sessions with your friends. And of course, you can promote our channel by liking and putting notifications on. So whenever we have a live session, you will be able to capture it and share with your friends. So thank you very much, guys. See you on the next one.